WetLab is a floating laboratory. We've got the main structure, and that's where the majority of the workshops have taken place. There's a kitchen within it. And then separately to the structure, we've got this little roving, sort of almost like land bot, and that's the canal clinic.
So WetLab sort of looks to be a floating classroom and a space where we can start exploring and sort of investigating the material and food possibilities around the canal. Assembly, a loose arts collective that formed around the founding of a community garden in South London. Since then we've sort of taken on different themes within our work, mainly exploring or observing nature and trying to get people to engage in nature in different ways.
So together with Public Works Assembly, we developed the concept, always having some communal food, always exploring some material aspect.
It was really important to us when thinking about the projects that we involved not just artists but also a level of science and ecology.
The external experts and groups or individuals that have come and got involved they've really formed what's happened on WetLab. Today we've had Julie Livesey here, and she is a weaving and fibre artist. The first session that we've already done, we've been exploring the fibre that exists within plants. And this just seems like a really interesting way of getting to know, say, like a canal bank even better, because take a plant, strip it down, see what its actual individual components are, which bits might be useful, which bits might not be. We started with nettles. They've got these strings that run all the way up, which means that when you strip that away, it looks like a pile of grass, but actually it's a lot stronger. Julie taught us a cordage technique, how to twist them together. The natural dye workshop resulted in all these bits of fabric. We wanted to make a big tablecloth, so Carlotta and Rhiannon have been spending time patchworking these all together.
I see, great. When you're on the screen, I'm gonna try to bring everybody around.
I'm in Sweden at the moment, so hey. My name's Sigrid. I'm kind of like a bit of a plant, pigment and dye witch. I'm kind of just here to answer any questions you might have about the processes and a bit about the history or whatever. But I'm wearing some of my own work. This
Amazing.
is produced in a similar, not exactly the same, but similar way to what you guys are doing there and what I have behind me as well. What have you been dyeing with?
So we got 2 baths at the moment. The birch leaves are removed from the fire now, from the heat. And this one is mother that I keep I'm trying to keep it at within the 80 degrees. And these are the wheat brown baths that we used before to soak it. And here we have the stations where we're doing some painting over here.
Yeah.
And a big tablecloth. The tablecloths are going to be covering the 3 tables for a meal tomorrow.
We wanted all the meals to have foraged elements, but because it's kind of a funny in-between time right now, what we thought we could do instead is harvest throughout the rest of the year, harvest spices. So this meal is flavoured with the canal spice rack, essentially.
We thought that we could organize this meal to try to explore the different flavors that the canal can offer. One of the points for the wet lab, or one of the ideas behind the lab itself, is to understand the canal as a resource or set of resources. There are some explored, some can help us produce fuels. We've been prototyping with the stove. Some can be edible, in this case tonight, the different spices and flavors that you can introduce in the dishes. Some can be woven, as has been done this morning with Julie and the basket making and the table mats, some of it which you can kind of see on the table. And yesterday we've been doing natural dyes. So this stop in Burnley is very much about understanding tools, equipments that can be produced with the canal. And tonight the idea for the meal is that it's 3 dishes, in a way a kind of connecting to the different banks and plants and flowers that you can forage, but introducing them to dishes that are part of the local tradition, some of them, the dessert props, you could say, and dishes that also allow us to explore. But maybe, Andrew, you want to say something more about the dishes?
So yeah, this has really been incredibly interesting for me because it's a first. So the food that you're going to eat tonight and hopefully enjoy is is flavoured with herbs that are forageable along a stretch of canal like this. Primarily we've used wild garlic, we used angelica, with the stewed vegetable broth that I'm going to serve up. We're going to have some nettle dumplings with it. And the desserts, plural, we have two versions of the Lancashire, a Nelson cake and something called Wet Nelly, which is like a Nelson cake but not as dry.
The work and the activities that we're doing are quite domestic in their settings. It's kind of like an act of care, and that's really sort of brought out the emotional connection that you might find normally, like when cooking with other people or with new people. And that's something that we really wanted to bring along to what was, an industrial infrastructure, and see how, if we apply care principles to the site, like how it might be able to offer us care in return.